but still I will embarrass myself by trying to read this complicated sloka. Okay? Yesterday there was a wonderful program at one of the very elite apartment complexes where about 24 people were celebrating the initiation by His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. And it was a very nice program, and I always say that I am the duplicate YugalaKishore, and YugalaKishore who introduced YugalaKishore is very, he's the original one. And many times I get Vaishnava association by his mercy, because people call me up and says, is it YugalaKishore? I say yes. Your voice is sounding different, Prabhu. It is not transcendental like the other YugalaKishore. I think I got the wrong number. So anyway, with his mercy, so many devotees call me, thinking it is YugalaKishore Das of AECS. So it was a wonderful program where 24 people got initiated recently and they were celebrating. And there is a good cause for celebration, because initiation means that you are getting officially connected to the parampara, which is a very important part of the process. Many times as preachers we sit on the Vyasasana, correct? Because that is what we are expected to do. So this is actually a seat of Srila Vyasadeva. That's why it's called Vyasasana. So when we sit on the Vyasasana, we have got a collective power, because individually we are not powerful, but with the mercy of the parampara, we become powerful, right? So we become empowered to speak Krishna Katha whenever we sit on the Vyasasana. So the whole process of spiritual advancement is actually doing all activities that will please the Lord with the sole purpose of receiving mercy of the Lord, right? So our whole spiritual advancement doesn't depend on our scholarly knowledge or power and prestige in society. It depends on focusing on activities that invite mercy of the Lord. And when mercy of Vaishnavas, mercy of the parampara and mercy of the Supreme Lord descends, then spiritual advancement happens and we progress towards understanding the Supreme Absolute Truth. One of the ingredients of mercy is that we have to be extremely humble in our thought process and our activities. So we have to be nirmat saranam satam. So that is the main thing that we need to practice for spiritual advancement. There are so many Shastric references of the process of initiation, and there are practical aspects of the process of initiation as well, which we have to carefully follow. Then success will automatically come. So initiation should not give us the impression of the fact that we are entitled, I forgot to mention this point yesterday because I was given a warning letter. But it's a very, very important point. I think we should meditate on this point. Once I had gone for a yatra, not arranged by my Guru Maharaj, but arranged by disciples of another Swami. So the disciples of that Guru came and said, "Oh, it's so nice that you have come for this yatra of our Guru Maharaj. I said, yes, I am indeed fortunate. No, before I could say that, he said, you are very fortunate. So I immediately asked him, are you not fortunate? So as disciples of that Guru, they considered themselves entitled that I have to be fortunate because I am disciple of so and so. So, whose disciple are you was the next question. Since I wasn't very fond of the mood that was displayed by the devotee, I said, yes, I am a disciple of Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mad, Matsarya, and I am trying to advance in my Krishna consciousness. So we should not feel entitled. We have to be in gratitude of the mercy that we have got, thanks to which we have been able to get this spiritual initiation. Like we mentioned yesterday and we repeat today, initiation is the beginning or official beginning of your spiritual journey. It is not that we have arrived in life, right? So with that consciousness and prayer, we'll sing Jai Radha Madhava and we'll try and discuss on this beautiful verse from the 19th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, verse number 10. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Sankirtan ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Welcome all devotees and thank you very much for facilitating this program and allowing me to speak Krishna Katha. For a Krishna conscious devotee, it's every day is holy actually, because when you practice Krishna consciousness, it becomes very holy. And among all the holy days, the time when we discuss Srimad Bhagavatam is the holiest of holy days, right? So it's our good fortune that we are able to assemble here in a materially very difficult situation and still practice our Krishna consciousness and come for the Srimad Bhagavatam class. I'll just say my Guru prayers and then we'll start the discussion on the sloka. Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurāvaṇāśrama-dharma Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Veshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Vishnave Guruvaya Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Srimad Bhagavatam Part Ki Jai. So we are discussing the chapter which is entitled Island of Jambudvipa. And the verse number given to me is verse number 10 from this chapter. So which is, as I said, it's not a sloka in any meter. It is a sloka in prose. So we'll just repeat the sloka once and then we'll read Srila Prabhupada's translation and transcendental purports. Okay? Tam Bhagavān Nārado varṇāśrama-dharma Bhārata-varṣa prajabhir Bhagavat proktabhyam Sankhya Yogabhyam Bhagavat Anubhavo Pavarnanam Anubhavo Pavarnanam Sāvarṇi Parama Bhakti Bhaveno Pasarati Idam Chabhigranati Idam Chabhigranati. Purport by His Divine Grace and translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In his own book, yes, Hare Krishna, thank you. In his own book known as Nārada Pañcarātra, Bhagavān Nārada has very vividly described how to work to achieve the ultimate goal of life, devotion through knowledge and through execution of the mystic yoga system. He has also described the glories of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The great sage Nārada Muni, the great sage Nārada instructed the tenets of transcendental literature to Sāvarṇi Manu in order to teach those inhabitants of Bhārata-varṣa who strictly followed the principles of varṇāśrama-dharma how to achieve the devotional service to the Lord. Thus, Nārada Muni, along with the other inhabitants of Bhārata-varṣa, always engages in the service of Nara-Nārāyaṇa, and he chants as follows. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has clearly declared Bharata Bhumite Haila Manushya Janma Yara Janma Sarthaka Kari Karo Para Upakara. The real success or fulfillment of the mission of human life can be achieved in India, Bhārata-varṣa, because in Bhārata-varṣa the purpose of life and the method of achieving it are evident. People should take advantage of the opportunity afforded by Bhārata-varṣa, and this is especially so for those who are following the principles of varṇāśrama-dharma. If we do not take the principles of varṇāśrama-dharma by accepting the four orders, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra, and the four orders of spiritual life, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa, there can be no question of success in life. Unfortunately, because of the influence of Kali Yuga, everything is now lost. The inhabitants of Bhārata-varṣa are gradually becoming degraded, mlechas and yavvanas. How then will they teach others? Therefore, this Krishna conscious movement has been started not only for the inhabitants of Bhārata-varṣa, but for all the people of the world, as announced by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There is still time, and if the inhabitants of Bhārata-varṣa take this movement of Krishna consciousness seriously, the entire world will be saved from gliding down to the hellish situation. The Krishna conscious movement follows this process of Pañcarātrika Vidhi and that of Bhagavata Vidhi simultaneously, so that people can take advantage of the movement and make their lives successful. So, in the chapter that came earlier to this chapter, chapter number 18, some descriptions of Jambudvipa are given. So, it is called Bhārata-varṣa or Ilavrata-varṣa, and the Jambudvipa is supposed to have 27 mountains, hills, and rivers. 34 rivers flow in the Jambudvipa. The Brahmaputra and Sona are the main rivers in Jambudvipa. And wherever rivers are there, it is easy purification because of the transcendental rivers which are there in the place. So you can take a dip and attain transcendental purity whenever you want because of the rivers that are mentioned, that are present in Jambudvipa. And then that is Jambudvipa is a place where the varna and ashrama are followed strictly. Yeah. So varṇāśrama-dharma is not one of the angas of bhakti. Bhakti is independent of every other fact. But where varṇāśrama-dharma is being followed, in that place it is a facilitation of the practice of Krishna consciousness, right? When the varna and ashrama are being followed. So, even though it's not one of the angas of bhakti, it helps the followers of the process of bhakti. In the Gulf, where we stayed for many years, 3 decades we have stayed there. So we have this just concluded holy month of Ramadan. I hope everybody gave some dhan to Lord Rama during this month. Yeah. So they call it Ramadan. And all the hotels are closed. There is no facility for eating. So therefore, it kind of facilitates those people who want to practice this austerity of eating. So therefore, the varṇāśrama-dharma facilitates the practice of bhakti, even though it is not one of the angas of bhakti. Okay. So the earth planet is so holy, the material earth planet, that even demigods aspire to be born in Bhārata-varṣa, especially in Jambudvipa. There are many facilities, as we discussed, to practice devotional service. And the land of Bhārata-varṣa is greater than even birth in Brahmaloka. Yeah? Even the heavenly planets, we know that people live for 10,000 years. And those 10,000 years are not just ordinary 10,000 years, lots of facilities for the best of health. You don't need to go to the hospital at all. And people, you live for 10,000 years also. 10,000 years of healthy life, right? So lots of facilities for sense gratification, which is a danger. So even the demigods who have so many facilities, they want to sometimes come and they aspire to come to the earth planet. So the land of Bhārata-varṣa therefore is considered as even greater than the birth in Brahmaloka. There are 8 islands in the Jambudvipa. So in spite of all this situation in which they are placed in, the residents of this planet are in a mood not thinking of just sense gratification, right? And they are following the diktats of the Bhagavad Gita. What does the Bhagavad Gita chapter number 8, sloka number 16 say? Abrahma bhuvana loka punar avartino arjuna mam upetyatu kaunteya punar janma na vidyate. So they have a complete understanding of the Bhagavad Gita that from the highest planet to the lowest planet, all are places of misery. Krishna says it is dukkhalayam and ashashvatam. 2 characteristics of the material world. First is dukkhalayam. Alayam also means the warehouse. The warehouse of misery, right? Dukkhalayam. And ashashvatam. Okay? So ashashvatam means that which is not permanent. It is temporary. Okay? So the moment we understand that this is the place where we are living in is dukkhalayam and ashashvatam, then happiness starts that very moment. Okay? Because what are we doing? We are going against the laws, diktats of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. So we are trying to seek happiness in an unhappy place, right? It is dukkhalayam. And we are trying to become permanent in a temporary place. So what happens when you are trying something which is not possible? Then automatically you start getting frustration, dejection and sadness, further sadness. Yeah? So therefore, if you understand that the material world is dukkhalayam and ashashvatam, happiness starts that very moment. Okay? So the residents of Jambudvipa, they understand this very well, that they should not seek sense enjoyment in the material world. Rather, the beautiful Jambudvipa should be seen as the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Using the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, let us progress towards bhakti. Yeah? So that is the mentality of the people of Jambudvipa. So, and they start offering their prayers in the earlier chapter, as we saw. They said, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are the reservoir of all religious principles, and you can cleanse the heart of the conditioned soul. Please accept our humble obeisances. Foolish materialists are very callous and neglectful of a certain death. Death is certain for all, yeah? So, foolish materialists just try to extend their material enjoyment as much as possible, defying the principle of, as we discussed earlier, dukkhalayam and ashashvatam. And then they make an important prayer. They say that the logicians, the philosophers, the Vedantists all know about you, yet they are bewildered by your illusory energy. Yeah? It's a very important point, because logicians, philosophers and Vedantists, they try to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead without surrender, but by their own intelligence. They try to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the very beginning we mentioned how the whole spiritual understanding of the Supreme Absolute Truth comes through the process of surrender and mercy. Yeah? Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Okay? So the logicians get bewildered by the illusory potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only you are completely detached, they pray, and you are the transcendental personality with inconceivable energies. We can never understand the energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Because they are so inconceivable. So there are two options when the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which the Vedantists take. The Vedantists say you are inconceivable, I understand, but by my thought process I will understand you. But my thought process, that is the mentality of the Vedantists. What are the devotees saying? The devotee says, you are so inconceivable, that's why we love you. We are not making any efforts to try and understand the full nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when we have that attitude, Krishna bestows you with knowledge about themselves, right? We glorify the fact that we are inconceivable, and the Vedantists try to capture that inconceivable nature of the Lord, which makes it so difficult for us, right? So, then as Hayagriva retrieved the Vedas, the hidden in the Rasatala. So Hayagriva is glorifying the Hayagriva form, who retrieved the Vedas which were hidden in Rasatalam, well below the Bhuloka, and returned the knowledge to Lord Brahma. Please accept our humble obeisances. Then they remember Lord Nrsimhadev, who lives in Hari-varsha, and the source of all power. With the nails and teeth, he vanquishes our demon-like desires. Please show mercy on us. These are the prayers of the residents of Jambudvipa. Allow me to practice Bhakti Yoga to conquer and kill our material desires. O Mukunda, save us. What's the meaning of the word Mukunda? Yeah, Mukta means the deliverer. Somebody said Mukti, then Mukti, that's the right answer. So there is only one person among all the great personalities of Devatas and Supreme Personality of Godhead in various forms, there's only one person who's got the name Mukunda, and that is Sri Krishna. So only Mukunda or Sri Krishna can give us the deliverance from this material world. So they pray to Mukunda, please save us. Then religion, knowledge and renunciation manifest in the body of an unalloyed devotee. Very important point to note. Yeah. So Krishna empowers you with the knowledge of religion and renunciation and complete knowledge of the Supreme Absolute Truth. Rishikesha is independent master of the senses. Help me to control my senses. Yeah? Because our senses are uncontrolled, we have come to this material world. We understood that. Now we want to somehow gain a control of our senses, and therefore they are praying to Rishikesha, who is the master of senses, right? Then accept our humble obeisances, O Lord. You are the maintainer of the entire creation. Simply by mantra we can understand you fully. You are Yajna and you are Kratu. Kratu means the master of all rituals. All sacrifices are meant to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All rituals are meant to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Many times we do a lot of rituals and yajnas to satisfy the different devatas, and we also participate in them and listen carefully to the words of the Pandit. After offering everything to the devatas, they ultimately say, please accept this as an offering to Krishna. Whether it is a Vaishnav Purohit or a Shaivite Purohit, ultimately all the offerings go, please listen to the mantras very clearly, and then we will understand this. So this, the Siddhanta is known to everybody. So, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is this protector, maintainer, and he has with his energies spread everywhere. So these are the sort of prayers of exalted persons. And how can we accept the fact that he is the protector, he is the maintainer and things like that? Such a complicated machine the material world is, right? How did it happen? Okay, even if you say just like that happened and it was there, like what the Buddhists say. The Buddhists say that somehow it is all existing, ever existing. Even if it is accepting and they don't accept that the Creator has done it, then what about the maintenance? Maintenance somehow is more difficult than the creation itself. Ask all the mothers here. Yeah? So giving birth is very, very tough. But after that, handling that child, oh God, is so difficult, and it just goes on and on and on. Salute to all the mothers who have cultivated their children in Krishna consciousness in spite of so many difficulties that the children give us, right? So the maintenance aspect is very, very difficult, So to build a home is so tough. What about building a skyscraper? Very tough. And then what about creating an entire planet or maintaining a planet? It's not it's not an easy task. But for the Supreme Lord it is very easy. Yeah. So how can we perceive the maintenance aspect of the Lord, and how can we perceive that the Lord is the Supreme Creator of everything? That perception can come only by the process of the bhakti. What does the Brahma Samhita say? Brahma Samhita 38 verse, I think, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santas Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So we can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead only through the eyes of devotion. Can we understand Shyama Sundara, who is, we have to connect our heart filled with devotion and fill our eyes with the salve of love. Then we can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Others cannot perceive the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We can't walk into the temple and say, I want to see the Lord. You can't perceive Him in that way. So that is what the last chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam dealt with. And in this chapter, Hanuman's prayers to Lord Ram is what is being offered. Hanuman offers his prayers to Lord Ram, and is acknowledged that God is the most advanced in culture. He is the most consistent person. What is the consistency? Opposite of consistent is erratic. Opposite of consistent is whimsical. Can we ever think of, and he is the highest in character. Can we ever think of taking shelter of a whimsical and erratic person? We want to see consistency. Yeah? Every 5 years if Krishna comes and changes the Bhagavad Gita, then that is not consistent. Yeah? So the Lord Ram is like the, that touchstone. The moment the touchstone is used to test the efficacy of gold, right? If you go to a jeweler, he just rubs a stone and then says, this is the original gold. Lord Ram is the original gold, no doubt, but he is also the touchstone. Okay? So he glorifies him. So what is so difficult to understand? Lord Ram and Lord Krishna are very difficult to understand. Why? Lord Krishna was a small child. And he was doing activities like a small child, right? And even the great leelas that he performed, he used to close their eyes with the eyes of Yogamaya. None of the people ever considered him as and thought of him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So, in fact, that conception was concealed with the mercy of Yogamaya. Yeah? If you think that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is great like this, he is great like that, it comes as a curtain to exchange love with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? So Yogamaya's mercy, Yashoda never imagined that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She just had it fixed in her mind that he is my darling, helpless child, and I have to serve the child. The moment the realization comes, only once Yashoda Maya had this realization when Krishna showed the entire planetary systems in his mouth. For a moment, she thought, oh my God, is my son the Supreme Personality of Godhead? I can see the entire planet, and in that planet so many universes are there, and in that one of the universes I am sitting with him in Vrindavan. All this she could think and see in front of her eyes. Yeah, and then there Krishna was sitting and Mother Yashoda was sitting. She could see that in the mouth of Sri Krishna when he was asked to open his mouth when he swallowed mud, right? And she never used to care for any other complaints. And she said, no, my son can't do this. You're just telling lies. You want to find fault with my son. But when it came to a complaint from Balaram, she said, yes, this is authentic. Balaram will never speak lies. Now I have to chastise Sri Krishna, my son, or Krishna, my son. That was her mentality. So she never got this feeling in her mind that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For a moment, that adjustment had to be made. She said, is my son really the Supreme Personality of Godhead? What am I seeing? He is holding all the universes in his mouth and in his belly. So is he the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Then quickly Yogamaya entered the scene, and Yogamaya covered this feeling that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They immediately said, no, I must be hallucinating. I was having some throat infection and infection in my body, so I was taking too much antibiotics. And because of these antibiotics, I am hallucinating. So this is not, then suddenly the thing got over, and then she was again playing with Krishna on her lap. Yeah? And she was thinking, yes, this boy needs protection. Besides chastisement, I must protect him. So that's the mentality. So that is Krishna on one side, where nobody in Vrindavan, if you go, have you ever seen people reverential about Krishna? They will say, Krishna, ye to chor hai. And that's their mentality, That's the way they express their love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whereas you go to Dwarka, the whole scene is different, right? So you go to Mathura, the scene is different. So the mood of Vrindavan is what we have to catch, right? And so on the other side, Lord Ram, he was like, has 2 arms, 2 legs, and 2 ears. What's so special about him? Krishna is just a small child. But then we have to understand that he is one without a second. One without a second, what does that mean? One without a second means nobody can be compared to him. That's the real meaning of one without a second. So, and then he can't be understood unless we are in a state of saturated consciousness. Example can be given of a sponge in water, right? The sponge, when you put it in water, it starts sucking the water till such time that the sponge cannot take any more. That is called the saturated consciousness. So God is transcendental, yet he has 2 arms and 2 legs, and he laments like one of us. So when Sita was gone and Ravana had kidnapped Sita, so Lord Ram, like any of the normal husbands, was crying. He was lamenting, where is my Sita gone? I miss her so much. He expressed all human-like emotions, even though the person who was kidnapped was actually Maya Sita, and Sita was very much with him. How can you separate Sita from Lord Ram? It's just impossible. But his role was to come in the form of a human being, and he wanted to teach all of us to avoid marriage just for sex pleasure and center your life around Krishna's pleasure, right? So that was the teaching. So he teaches us, on the other hand, not to lead a life of sense gratification as we just mentioned, but we have to be the moral protector of our spouse. Either ways it works, right? And then these are all transcendental leelas of the Lord. In Viraha Tapa, they are in transcendental bliss of separation. So Lord Ram on one side, Lord Krishna on the other side, and there are other avatars, Varaha, Kurma, Matsya. He took the position of a hog or a boar, and he lifted the entire earth. So that's like some fantastic activity, which convinces the person that yes, this is an avatar and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And here we are, only Hanuman could understand, many others still could not understand that Lord Ram was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because the Lord loves not your position, not your power and your position in society. The Lord loves the devotion you sow. He was not of a high birth, Hanuman, right? Hanuman was not even a human being. He was a monkey. But still, the Lord wouldn't go 1 second without Hanuman by his side. Then we come back. So this is the background of the 19th chapter of the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So in the verse of today, Nārada Pañcarātra is being mentioned, where Nārada explains how to work to achieve ultimate goal of life, and that is through the process of devotion, through knowledge and mystic yoga system. That's what the translation says, right? What does the first six chapters of the Bhagavad Gita teach us? Karma yoga, right? And the last 6th chapter, Jnana yoga. So you have the same thing, mystic yoga system and the process of knowledge. Jnana and karma, when there is a fusion between them, and that is pure bhakti, right? Again, bhakti does not depend on knowledge. Bhakti doesn't depend on mystic yoga system, but when these two are combined, the fusion is the beautiful bhakti yoga which is described in the 6th middle chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. Then they also discuss the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is mentioned here. And then this tenets of transcendental knowledge is given to Sāvarṇi Manu. Yeah? So Nārada Muni, Deva Rishi that he is giving knowledge to Manu himself, who is the father of mankind. And he preaches varṇāśrama-dharma, he advocates varṇāśrama-dharma to progress in devotional service and recommend service to Nara-Nārāyaṇa. And then in the purport, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned a very, very important verse. Bhārata-varṣa manushya janma yara janma sartaka kari karo para upakara. Okay? So if you are born in this beautiful land of Bhārata-varṣa, where, as we explained earlier, that even the devatas want to take birth in Bhārata-varṣa, in spite of the traffic and the dirt around in the streets and all that, please understand this beautiful thing that we are very fortunate to be born in Bhārata-varṣa, where there is facility to progress in our spiritual life. So we must have done some pious activities, and pious activities was not enough to go back home, back to Godhead. But what a wonderful opportunity that we have got. We have got a human form of life, and we are born in Bhārata-varṣa as well. From where we can, and we have got the association and teachings of Srila Prabhupada. Yeah? Which is like, Srila Prabhupada was an essentialist. He has just given you what is essential to go back home, back to Godhead. All of us assembled here, we don't have any reasons to give why we should not go back home, back to Godhead in this lifetime. We must make it, because Prabhupada has been so merciful. So, and then the important thing that is mentioned here is 2 responsibilities for people who are born in Bhārata-varṣa. One is Janma Sartaka Kari, Karo Para Upakara. Janma Sartaka Kari means first make your life successful. And then what you should do? Karo Para Upakara. Then you do service to the society. And what's the best service to the society? To give the knowledge of Krishna consciousness. So he has introduced this very illustrious personality, Nārada Muni, who is the Deva Rishi or the Rishi among all the Rishis. And he has addressed him as Bhagavān. What on earth is happening? We just thought, Ete Chamsa Kala Pumsa Krishna Stu Bhagavān Swayam. There is only one Bhagavān, and that is Krishna. And here, the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is advocating knowledge on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is now mentioning and referring to Nārada as Bhagavān. What is this, contradiction? The Vishnu Purana, where it is mentioned, Aishwaryasya Samagrasya Viryasya yashasasriya Jnana Vairagyayos Sannam Bhaga Ithingana. They are listing out the 6 opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For anybody to be called as Supreme Personality of Godhead is having these 6 opulences in samagrasya or in full. So the Lord is supposed to have the full wealth, full strength, fame, beauty, knowledge and renunciation. These are the 6 opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We may have 1 or 2 opulences, yeah. So, Sachin Tendulkar, in our times, now you may say Virat Kohli. So, in our times, Sachin Tendulkar was the greatest man, the Bhagavān of cricket, right? He was the master blaster, I think, yeah. Little master was the best in his time, and then master blaster came Sachin Tendulkar, right? So he was no doubt extremely talented while he played his game of cricket. But he didn't have so much of, he had lots of wealth, but when it comes to beauty, you don't consider a person 5 foot, to be a beautiful person or a handsome person. So we may have 1 or 2 opulences here and there, but we don't have all the opulences in samagrasya or in full. So the Brahma Samhita also gives us knowledge how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana. Karana means the origin of all. There is no other origin and is the prime cause of all causes. So Lord Krishna is Bhagavan. And that is what, because he has his opulences, Krishna is the all-attractive Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna is not a whimsical person. Only deserving person can understand the Bhagavan. So how is it? There is a contradiction in the Srimad Bhagavatam where Nārada is considered and referred to as Bhagavan, right? So we have to have some understanding how some great personalities, though they are not Bhagavan, are referred to as Bhagavan, and Nārada is one such personality, right? So Nārada otherwise is a Jivatma, is a spirit soul, there is no doubt about it. And then the Srimad Bhagavatam is the authorized Shastra which is giving this idea and saying Bhagavān Nārada. So the Supreme Lord always is ready to bestow all opulences on the pure devotee of the Lord for the purpose of spreading Krishna consciousness. Like how do we give an example? So we have the ambassador of some country sitting in Delhi, right? So he is only the ambassador and he is not the Prime Minister or President of that country. But when you go and meet him, he speaks on behalf of the government that he represents. And he is given all the respect that the head of the government of that country deserves. He is only an ambassador of the country. So he is qualified to represent the country. So therefore, the Lord empowers someone to represent himself. Yeah? So he is equally empowered as the Lord. So Nārada Muni has got the mission of being a traveler to lower and higher planetary systems, and he can travel to Vaikunta as well. He travels at will. So what does Srila Prabhupada call Nārada Muni? The one title that he has given him? Yes, he is the transcendental spaceman with a special mission. So as a devotee of the Lord, a pure devotee of the Lord, he acts as God because he is carrying with full realization the instructions of God, and therefore he is referred to as Bhagavan. There are very special cases where the devotee actually appears more powerful than God. Isn't Yashoda Maya more powerful than the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Helplessly she is standing, he is standing, tied to the ukko. We have discussed the Damodar Leela so many times. And Mother Yashoda is carrying a stick with her and chastising the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah? So therefore, sometimes the devotees are more powerful than the Supreme Lord Himself. And Srila Prabhupada, once when he was doing Sankirtan outside India, he was asked, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said that Krishna consciousness will spread in every town and village of the entire world. So why didn't he travel outside India? So Srila Prabhupada answered, because he wanted me to do that. So here we also see how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Lord Himself. Krishna Varnam, Trisa Krishnam, Sango Pangasta Pashadam, Yajnir Sankirtana Praya, Yajanti Hi Suvedashaha. Right? The object of worship is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? And even though he is gold in color, he is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shri Krishna, He is Krishna Himself. So, there is always a transcendental competition between God and His devotees, right? They are competing with each other, not like how we compete. Yeah? They are competing with each other to glorify each other, right? And therefore, the Lord is always trying to glorify the devotees are always trying to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord likes to make the devotee famous, right? So that is the mission of the Lord, that you are a devotee, you should become famous like me, yeah? So, Srila Prabhupada was the most famous among Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Easily, isn't it? Out of envy, the other Gaudiya Vaishnava, practitioners may not agree, but who did what Srila Prabhupada actually has done? Every town and village has really happened through the Acharya Srila Prabhupada, right? And why does God make the devotee famous? He makes him famous because whatever a great man does, common men follow. Yad yad acharati shreshtas tat tat eve tarojana sayat pramanam kurute lokas tat anuvartate. So whatever action the devotee performs, great, the common men follow that person, like he is the leader in society. We all want to follow, right? And then whatever standards that has been set, all the world pursues. So Vaishnavas have got the ability to make others Vaishnavas, right? More than sometimes the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are the supreme agents of the Lord, and therefore sometimes their greatness is so much that they are referred to as God, right? Bhagavān. So that's how Nārada actually got the title of Bhagavān Nārada. So Nārada is a first class, super duper devotee of the Lord, and he has got the capacity to make a fifth class devotee like me to also a first class devotee, right? So, and does it depend? I will again reiterate the point that you don't need any position, you don't need any prestige or position in society to become a devotee of the Lord. What was Narada's background? Was he a Brahmana? He was a son of a maid servant. What about Srila Vyasadeva? Vyasadeva was a son of a fisherwoman. Yeah? And then what about Valmiki? He was from the hunter family. Mrigari the hunter. But, still they all became Vaishnavas, not because of their knowledge they did have, but they had the right attitudes to become devotees of the Lord, right? That is why reading of Chaitanya Charitamrita is so important. And the mic is also. I have just 2 or 3 more sentences. Hare Krishna. Society is not Hare Krishna. Our society is not ISKCON authentic if the mic functions properly. So Nārada Muni, as we discussed, is a first-class devotee, and he can make us, even if we are fifth-class devotees, into first class, right? So that's an important point which we learn. So to appreciate this, we must never be, envious of any devotee, and we should follow in the footsteps of Narada and make our lives successful. As Srila Prabhupada said, purity is the force, preaching is the essence, and books are the basis, utility is the principle. So let's focus on having the right moods to follow our Krishna consciousness. Knowledge will automatically come, and then engagement with Vaishnavas will automatically give us the knowledge, but we have to focus on the bhava, right? So that's very, very important. So let's all follow in the footsteps of Nārada Muni and make our lives successful, go back home, back to Godhead in this very lifetime. Okay? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, YugalaKishore Prabhu has gone. I was thinking of, in case I get stuck with any question, I can take his help. But now he has gone. So I have to depend more and more on Prabhupada and Sri Krishna. In case there are any questions, I will attempt to clarify.
So in Bhagavad Gita we address this Bhagavān Nārada. So that we are telling that okay, there is no this means Vyasada didn't write in Krishna Vacha to emphasize is Bhagavan. Now here it is addressed as Bhagavan in Narada, and also he is also in that 24 means avatar of means Bhagavan. So how we address that means Bhagavan word? How done is that? Is it right? Where to use and where to not?
Okay. Simple answer to that is use it where the Srimad Bhagavatam has used it. Otherwise it will become indiscriminate usage of the word Bhagavan. And what is the name of the meaning of the word Bhagavan? Bhaga means opulences and Van means the holder of these opulences. So here in this specific case, Srila Sukadeva Goswami has referred to Nārada Muni as Bhagavan, right? So wherever a self-realized soul or a great personality is referred to another person as Bhagavan, it is safe to use it. Because if we give a permission beyond that, then what happens is we might be indiscriminate because we have very low levels of energy and we are naturally inclined to take deviations, right? So use it only where the Shastras have used it. Otherwise there are so many Bhagavans. There is a Bhagavan in every street in Bombay. Indradumna Maharaj was speaking about this. So indiscriminate use can be dangerous. Does that clarify your point?
So when you are saying, especially Nārada Muni and Bhagavān and Sanagati, this three. So it is in a mention. So when we are saying, Bhagavan means is there means are they means equivalent to Krishna, and not Krishna even also Vishnu, like the power wise.
Okay. They are not equivalent to Krishna, but they are empowered by Krishna. They are so empowered, they are capable of giving you as much and more than Krishna himself, because that is Krishna's empowerment. Right. So, all done. So, what is the next program? The leaders should tell us. Mataji.